Wanderers, welcome, welcome. What was that smile for?
Well, you drop it in. It's
Yeah.
like, and we're go.
And we're here. Hi. Hello, our lovely wanderers. It is Soul Wanderings Night, Wednesday. Man, we've been doing Soul Wanderings on Wednesday for how many years? You know, this
I,
is at the end of this year, 10 years of me doing Soul Wanderings. Is
girl,
that
you got it going
wild?
on.
That is so crazy to me. I'm like,
Where did all that time go?
I
Oh,
blinked. Vibes will be 10 this year.
wow.
It's just crazy. Like, so grateful for the beginnings, and I love where we're at. So, hello, everyone who is joining us tonight live. We are on YouTube, we are on Facebook, and you can learn more about us at soulwanderings.com. It's there where we have information and past show stuff from when we were on radio, and all of our new stuff is here on YouTube. So do some clicks, do some searching. Lots of good stuff on there. We have been doing this for a hot minute, like we said.
Yeah.
It's crazy. During the day, we hang out at a very special space called Vibes, Mind, Body, Spirit. We're each in our own offices where we assist people in their life journey, healing, grief, trauma, you name it. We're here to support and assist in any way that we can to help you find your light again, to help you find yourself again, most importantly. And every week we come on here and we share a show topic and discuss it with our own individual experiences or teachings, things that we have learned in our own journey. So tonight we'll be talking about You Were Never Meant to Hide. Your
What
giggle is so cute.
is
Stop with the cuteness.
I just can't help it. I've gotten more comfortable being seen.
I'm I'm looking forward to this conversation in a lot of ways. You know, we talk about things that we both resonate with to a certain degree
Yeah.
and some quite a bit. This is one of those topics for me quite a bit. I resonate with this so much. Even to this day, this is, I won't even say a struggle. I don't struggle because it's not a struggle. It's definitely awareness that I have of being seen. I don't like people to pay attention to me. It makes me uncomfortable. And
Well,
I always get, but you have had a radio show and you have this business. Okay, but it's not about me. That is not about me. You're not watching for me, you're watching for yourself. It's much different. So,
yes, but it doesn't make sense to people because to be a public figure, even if it's, the range of our audience, means that you're willing to put your face on the camera, and yet you still have that part that said, I'm doing this for, you want to send that message that's like, no, the reason why we do this is to assist others.
yeah. But life happens, and so we have these experiences that teach us, not to be ourselves. And there are so many people walking through life unseen, and not because they're invisible, but because they learned it was safer to hide. And that comes with a whole slew of experiences that we're going to talk about tonight.
It is so true.
And you're right, fear of being seen is rarely about the attention. It
Right.
goes much deeper than that.
Much deeper, which I
But
had the intuitive hits on. So we'll get into that.
yeah,
What
first
I
tell
got,
me,
what I've
hi.
done. Hi.
Natalie's had quite a week.
Oh,
How
I
are you
have.
doing?
I'm good. I went on an airplane for, I actually don't really have fear of flying. I just haven't flown since January 2020. And when I took that flight, I had a good friend of mine saying, that's just a bad time to fly because the pandemic was just bubbling up during that time.
Mhm.
Early January, there were early hints of it. It really came out a couple months later, and then I just sort of pulled back from it, and haven't had the opportunity until now. But it was interesting flying. I was on my way there, sitting in the Salt Lake City airport, looking around at the people, and I had this thought. I thought, if well, there's a couple things that were going through my mind. It's like there is just a thing about fate. A lot of people worry about having something happen, a bad, what if something happened on the plane? And I had this, whether it was just a whisper from the higher realm or whatever that said, look, if it's fated to happen, it's just going to happen. It's fate. But I was looking around at the people that were waiting there to board on the plane, and I thought, if anything were to happen on this flight, these would be the people I'd be on that adventure with.
Mm-hmm.
And that was an interesting perspective. I hadn't really flown with that sort of mindset. Ended up sitting next to a man that was in the army coming back from Korea. He was watching out the window because he had dogs that were sitting on the tarmac, and he was really worried about them because they hadn't been out of their kennel since they launched from Korea. So he was just nervous and anxious, and I could just feel him. So I was trying to send him a little peace and calm and he was just tired. But it was interesting who you end up by. Like I was having this awareness of looking around and noticing the people and just being in it, present in it. And I didn't have any issues. It was good. It was a bumpy ride on the way back.
But you did it. You
I
did the
did it.
thing, and
Yeah.
that's all that matters. So,
Mhm.
good job, Natalie.
Thank you. I just took an opportunity that was presented that felt right and went with it and had a good time and saw some new parts of the country that I'd never seen before. And
I would
so,
love to go to that area. It's so rich in history.
oh, yes.
I feel like one time that'll happen.
Yeah.
One time. Almost
Yes.
made it last summer on our road trip. We were literally one state away and we were like, should we or should we head back? And I was like, let's go. I'm so tired of being in a car. That was a long trip.
That is a long trip. You drive all that way.
Mm-hmm.
Is a long trip. It's even a longer flight to fly. But they have wonderful, just your personal movie right in the seat in front of you.
Yeah, Natalie, it's been a while since you've been on a plane.
It has been. 5 years is a long time. Things happen.
Yeah, things change.
Yes.
Well, I'm really glad that you had that adventure. I'm really proud of you for
Thank you.
deciding to lean into that experience. That is
Yeah.
so good.
Yeah. Making memories. I remember years ago in the early stages of my own personal grief journey, I had this concept. I get a lot of inspiration, downloads, whatever the language is, but I feel like these messages come to me, and it's important to make memories. It's important to not just exist. And maybe that's part of this topic of being seen is the willingness to whatever happening in your life, but the willingness to let life happen and make memories and not have it be just so. I mean, life is extremely mundane, but to find the magic in the mundane, I guess that's part of the allowing to be seen and to let the world be seen by you as well, is to be able to see and be seen.
Yes.
There is something about finding the richness in life, even in everyday life, and be mindful. We always talk about being mindful of the thoughts that you have, but a lot of times people are like, the world's going to hell. But is it? Is it really? How much of the world is still that? I realize there's just a lot of people out there and there's a lot of world happening.
Yeah. Yeah. And as it is.
Yeah.
I want to get to the joy of not hiding, like the joy of being seen into all of that. But let's go back to how these fears even begin. Like many people learn to hide themselves or aspects of themselves along the way and create a story around the experiences that they have. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about how it's often rooted in past experiences, of, I don't know, lots of things. I would say like rejection or being judged or criticized or shamed or bullied or like betrayal. Um, for me, I have an abandonment wound, and that's a big one for me. Or just even feeling too much, right? Because there have been so many times in my life where I've been told, like, yeah, I don't, you make no sense. You're crazy. You're just too much, or you're too emotional, or whatever it looks like, right? And so we start shrinking ourselves. What has that journey looked like for you? Because I
Well,
know today you may get nervous, but I think it's more excitement,
mhm.
but you don't have the same kind of fears that myself and other people have had.
No, there's been several experiences through my life where I felt like shyness or didn't want to be seen. So there's a couple stories I want to tell. One story is I just went, and I was telling you this earlier, but I went to my little nephew's second grade graduation, and I was paying attention to the kids as the teacher was handing out awards, and I could see that some of the kids, they flushed, you can watch people, and there was a couple of the kids that they just got red in the face when they went up to receive their award, and they're in front of a bunch of strangers because nobody knows every other parents, and it's not even a very big room full of things, but I've noticed how things happened just even, and I don't know if they even went through something difficult, but I saw how early at the age of 8, these kids are 8, um, that these things start. And I have a memory when I was in elementary. I do not remember what grade I was in, but we had a field trip and we went to a firehouse. And the firemen had their coveralls and they asked for a volunteer, and I volunteered. And I remember the feeling inside of myself. So I went up and they put the coveralls over me, and I'm sure there's some kids giggling and laughing. But I was in the center of attention because I went up there and got me little self in these big baggy coveralls. And I remember that feeling of embarrassment or shyness that happened then. Um, and there was a couple of things that I carried for a while. When I was in junior high, I was in a debate. I don't remember. I'm sure it was part of a class that we had a debate. And I went up and did my part, but then someone whispered to me after that my zipper was undone. So I was in front of the whole audience, zippers undone. Oh my gosh. And I carried that trauma for a while of like, oh my gosh, so you can't like put myself together. And I don't even remember how that got cleared, but that was another memory that I had, that is like being in front of an audience and being seen, and then having something like that happen. It was like, and I think when I really broke through public, like being in front of someone and feeling that deep anxiety, was at a training that I had when I was in my 20s sometime. And we were doing like a little skit and we had our lines. And I was so, so nervous to do the talking. And I actually, as I'm telling the story now, understand why I had more anxiety about it, because I know my form so much better now. But I had these lines to say, and I went through and I did it. And when we were getting feedback, I didn't even remember what I said. And the feedback was, we couldn't tell that you were nervous.
Hmm.
And so I was like, oh, okay, well, that's good. We'll let that
Yay.
go. I'm like, okay, maybe I'm a natural at this. But with that feedback, it just unlocked something inside of me that I said, okay, so whatever I'm feeling on the inside doesn't necessarily translate to the outside.
Yeah.
And then I've just proceeded to get more and more and more experience being in front of people, and I've just relaxed more. But I realized that I'm not one to handle script things very well. I'm just more of a person that naturally ad libs.
Yes. You're
And so
definitely good at that.
when I just let that flow, then it's easier on me. So that's part of what I've experienced with the fear of being seen, and then working through and releasing that, and then going forward and leaning in and just doing what I do best. And I did have an experience when I was gone this weekend of someone seeing me and giving me feedback. And this woman said, "You're amazing. You just work a room." And I'm like, I do? I do? What was I doing? But to have
Me and
someone
Natalie, you can do that.
person I met that was watching me and just commenting on my ability to interact with people and flow through the room with ease. There's something to be said by hundreds and hundreds of hours of being among people and being more comfortable. Even if inside I still get a little socially awkward about, how do you bring up navigating the conversation, want to do it smoothly. I do have all those things go on inside of me.
Mhm.
And I've learned how to just be with whatever it is, the sensations that I experience inside, and it's all part of the experience. So my allowing really benefits me.
Yes, it does. It definitely does. You're really good at what you do.
Well, thank you.
Anytime I have to go to a big social event, like really have to, like it's important. I like to bring in Natalie.
So you can stand behind me.
I can hide behind her because she's the star of the show, and I get to just hide away and just barely get noticed. It's good.
It's funny.
But there's different ways that, hide what hiding can look like, right? Because
Hmm.
doesn't mean I'm necessarily hiding behind you,
No.
but there's ways that people hide, like people pleasing
Uh-huh.
or perfectionism. And I can think of a lot. Sabotage, like self sabotage, or like shining your light. You guys, how many of us have like this really big, beautiful personality, but we feel we need to dim it because people around us may feel uncomfortable, or we avoid speaking up in general. And for a long time, like, although I've done this show for so long, for 10 years, and there's been a camera in my face almost every week for the last 10 years, almost, not all, but I totally am afraid to be on social media. Like, I do not have a social media presence. You guys don't see me out there doing this thing. Um, and even recently, in the last 6 months, I've put myself out there just personally, not on a business aspect, just to share other things about myself and my passion. And that is it. Oh, it is nerve-wracking, and I'm not even really showing my face, so it's just parts of me. But then, there's also experiences that, create give us give us an experience where we decide to, like, create walls around us,
Hmm.
like,
Hmm.
emotional walls are not letting people in. Or for those who aren't familiar with human design, so you don't understand what's going on, there's also like what I would call shape shifting or masking, where you are acting like the people around you instead of your true authentic self. And
Yeah.
so I feel like hiding can look like a lot of different things. And I know we've all done it on a certain level because I don't know one person personally. I know they may be out there, but I don't know one person who's ever been like, "I'm not afraid to be seen. Look at me." Like, that is not, like, something that we're conditioned or raised to be like. I'm sure there are people, but the majority of people that I know of are not that way.
Oh.
They are all of the things that I've said, or like staying quiet, right? That's another one that I just thought of. Um, they don't want to be seen. But That's the crazy thing, right? Is like deep down inside, we all want to be seen for who we are. We all want to be known for who we truly are.
Yeah.
And so we get to look at these aspects of ourselves and ask ourselves, like, what can we set down? What can we let go of? And we can talk about that more later, like how you would go about doing that. But I think it's really important just to be aware, like, do you really not want to be seen because of, like a past experience? And are you going to allow that to stop you from living your best life because you want to hide behind closed doors? There's just so much potential and so much experience out there if you go out into the world and not be afraid that someone's going to see you living your life. And
Right.
most of the time, people are out living their lives and they aren't really paying attention to you.
No.
You're the only one that's paying attention to everything about you. Like, people are going about their days, filling their things, doing their life. They're not even paying attention. So, like, why are we hiding ourselves? Why are we showing up in these ways to avoid being seen? All of these ways that we've said, but what were you gonna say?
Well, there's actually a lot of fears that are built into our design.
That's yeah. In the
The
design? Oh, I was gonna say, but there's fear in general because fear develops over time from when we're born on.
Yes, but there is some very specific fears within the human design. Like there's fear of rejection, and there's fear um, of sharing your opinion, and there's fear of
Mhm.
nobody, like not having anything, or nobody will listen to you, like nobody's there to hear you, to share what's in us. So there's fears behind, that are just built into the mechanism of being human. So that's an aspect of it. And as far as it goes with human design, the fear is there for awareness, because no awareness can exist without fear. So some of this is just built into it, and it's about feeling the fear and processing it in a healthy way versus restraining yourself and surrendering. But there's personal experiences. While you were talking, I was thinking about, we started out with public displays, but we often hide most in our interpersonal relationships,
Mm.
where
Isn't
we
that
don't.
wild?
Mhm.
Like, we're in relationships, but don't look
That,
at me.
and don't, and you, I'm not going to share something with you because you're going to reject me. Or, and that's a deep one that said, if I share everything that I feel with you, then maybe you won't like it and you'll be upset with me, or you'll reject me, or a myriad
Right.
of things like that that'll say.
It
And
is.
then there's shame and guilt and previous actions that lead to holding yourself back, even feeling unworthy because of different things that you've done individually in our
Mhm.
past, or the
Right.
way that we appear, or um, the way that that I can, the things that I thought about is the way we keep house, or, there's a lot of people that don't want to share their personal space with people because of an idea that it might be judged, or
Mhm.
judgmentation is a big thing that holds people back, because we've all had experiences of being judged,
Right.
because we all know someone that's in the design too, but not in everybody. So this is the thing that I was feeling about prior to the show, was judgmentation exists in the human race, and definitely in organizations and religion and doctrines and things like that. But it doesn't exist everywhere. So there's probably more people non-judgmental than are judgmental. But it's the judgmental energy that we receive along the way that sticks in that
Yeah.
spot more than, it's out of 100 times we could be judged once, and 99 times not judged, and that one time carries a tremendous amount of weight.
Right.
And it's not easy to just transcend that, but it's definitely possible. to transcend that judgment and say, and give that back to another person and do your best anyway.
Yeah, it's true. And you guys, it's so good to just be yourself. And I know that is a lifelong journey for some of us to even know what that looks like. But people will judge no matter what if they are. So it's just easier to be yourself. But with me saying that, I know there are so many of us who also fear what ourselves truly looks like when we really look at ourselves, or even just the fear of being fully authentic, or the fear of disappointing people because of them learning who we truly are. And those are legit fears. And I hear about them often with my clients of all of these fears, like fear of using your voice, fear of standing out, fear of speaking in front of people at work, fear of success, even.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you are on social media, fear of posting or even just being online.
Or
And
trolls, fear of the
yeah,
trolling.
exactly. And so when I look at everything as like a possibility of fear, I don't do it to like be a pessimist. I look at it so I can be the opposite of that. Like I want to feel the opposite of that. So my whole life I didn't want to be seen, because when I got seen, I got attention. And it wasn't always positive attention, and I don't mean like people were mean to me. They just being a woman can lead to a lot of things. And so I just didn't want the attention. And so I'd wear baggy clothes, or I wouldn't do my hair and makeup, or I just wouldn't go out, or I would hide myself in so many ways, because it wasn't negative attention so much. I mean, it could some of it, but some of it was positive. It just was unwanted.
Mm.
And there's that too. There's just so much. So I want to ask you guys, like, in your journey, when you think about your life, what part of yourself did you learn to hide? And think about, when did you learn to hide that part of yourself? And is it serving you now? It's like one way you can start getting in and start clearing these layers. Is that story serving you now as your adult self? Because most of this we learned along the way, right? When we were kids, or whatever that, or teenagers, or whatever that looked like. And so sometimes the hiding has become a survival strategy. And
Yeah.
we've just learned to survive and learn to survive because it felt safe. But we were actually doing our bodies and our nervous systems more damage than good, because you really can become like, uh it can become a chronic illness, if you ask me.
Mm-hmm.
Living in fear, but also hiding yourself. We are given these beautiful innate gifts and abilities that they're just ours. They're our birthright. They're part of who we are. And in this human experience, we are meant to use them and share them and show them our creativity, our emotions, our voices, our intelligence, our sensitivity, our needs, all of it, you guys. And when we start having these human experiences where we feel like we're being diminished, and we start pulling back, and hiding, we aren't doing what we were sent here to do, which was to be our true authentic self. Now just feel on that for a minute. Our life literally is like this big in
Yeah.
the whole big scheme of things. It is literally, and it's over. And I can't tell you the amount of times where I've worked with people who were older, and I love asking questions. You know me, I interview everybody. How do you think? How do you feel? I want to know all the answers. I've always been this way. I love information. But the biggest thing is that I have heard is, I wish that I didn't take for granted what time was, because there's so many things I thought I'd have more time to do, and I just wish I had more time. And a lot of times when I say, "What does that look like?" It's not traveling the world, or these big lavish things. It's, I wish that I would have loved myself more. I wish I would have been more patient with myself. I wish I would have paid more attention to my physical body and took care of it. I wish I would have made memories with my family and friends. Things like that that really truly matter. But yet, so many of us live in fear, not just within our bodies and our hearts and our soul, but our whole entire life is wrapped around it. And so we never learn to share our gifts. We never learn to share the most precious gift of all, which is ourselves, our authentic versions of ourselves. And I look like, at the end of the day, there's so much I still want to do. And I'm midlife. If I'm lucky, like I'm more past the midlife. Um, and I think, wow, there's still so much I want to experience and do. And the only one that has ever stood in my way is myself. So just let that sink in.
Well said.
I just feel on it and I'm like, oh. So yeah, guys, think about it. Where did you learn to hide? And who taught you it wasn't fully safe to be yourself? It wasn't fully safe to be you. And let's go back and like delete that, rewrite the story or anything, but believe that thought.
Most of the time, people that teach us those things haven't had their own ability to be their authentic self. A lot of times, the passing on of holding back or a restriction, a person. One of the conversations that I heard over this weekend was between a man and his father, and a misunderstanding of why his father was saying you can't do this, you can't do that. Completely misunderstood. And until he actually sat down and asked his dad, his much older dad, and they're both older men, older than 50, and sitting down and having a conversation where we ask each other. So they were asking each other. And sometimes that doesn't happen until you're guided by someone that said, hey, why don't you just ask your dad? The man had discovered that his father was a very talented artist, but his older dad never pursued it. In fact, he hid all of the artwork. He had these art pieces up in his like the father didn't have his artwork at home. He had it in his office. So until he went to where his professional office was, he and saw these pieces, he's like, who did this? And his dad said him. It was just a hiding away. That's a hiding away of something that,
Mhm.
and that sometimes that could be generational stuff. That can just be the fact that artistic talent isn't necessarily compensable as far as career wise. And so people will hold their talent back because it's just this part that is about them, but it's not a way that they can make money. But after a more authentic conversation, the perspective was able to be shifted because of what was discovered. Asking questions about how someone got a place in their life often opens up something that you didn't realize before.
Mm.
Take the opportunity, if your parents are still alive, to just sit with them, because I found in my own life that my mom was always busy taking care of lots and lots of kids and all of this stuff. And so a one-on-one conversation was not common with my mom until later in life. And then I would ask her questions and discovers, oh, her story. We're like, because we never knew our mom when she was a woman before kids. And then they're people too. And that can often open it up when you can go back and revisit, hey, why was it like that? Or what brought you to your life? Or, it opens up, it does a lot of healing in ways to because you're talking about who sort of had you withdraw. And sometimes you going back to the memory and being able to see yourself stand up instead of shrink is
Mm,
a way to shift that energy.
absolutely.
What is it that you wish that you could have done in that moment? If you could have been, if someone made fun of your doodles when you were 5, you just look at them and say, well, what was your doodles like when you were 5? And you need to see your little self being able to do that. Couldn't do it when you were 5, but you can definitely do it when you're in your 30s. You can
Mhm,
imagine that you had the ability to just look them in the eye and give them attitude right back.
mhm. Yeah, that's part of reparenting
Hmm.
or healing our inner child, which we've talked about several times.
Yeah.
I love that stuff. But, also there is a cost to hiding yourself.
There is.
I know for me, it's caused a lot of disconnection, not just from other people, but even myself, right? Because when we just hide away, we're kind of just like disassociating in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And a lot of people get like in their feels, they get sad or depressed or feel these lower vibrational emotions like resentment and anger and shame and guilt and all of that stuff. And I know for me, when I have been feeling like low, like I lose my spark, I lose my connection to creativity and joy. Like it's gone, you know? And not to mention all of the things like you've brought up, like the anxiety. Like so many of us get anxiety just from pretending to be something that we're not. It eventually catches up with you.
It does. Takes a toll, hides out in the body, different becomes illness or disease.
Mhm.
This isn't simple things to just say, oh, okay, pop out and be seen.
Right. And when you're not fully present in yourself and like your whole authentic self and who you are, you're going to be attracting people in your life that are at that frequency, that vibration, and you're probably really not there. You're just, you know, you're having this experience with yourself that you haven't quite healed yet. But while you're doing that, you're going to attract relationships in your life that are only that they'll only know that edited version of you.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're in this relationship or friendship with somebody and they don't really know who you are. And I mean, that's a whole other experience. But I can see why so many of us feel like being authentic can feel terrifying or, like wearing a mask all the time can be exhausting.
Oh, yeah.
And I hope all of us, but I'm generalizing, get to a point in our lives where we're like, you know what? I am tired and I just want to be myself. I want to put the masks down. I want to be authentically me. I want to shine brightly. I want to share my gifts. And I don't want to feel this anger or guilt or resentment or grief or any of that. I don't want to abandon myself anymore.
Right.
And this life is all about learning, right? It's all about healing ourselves and the growth that occurs from doing so. And when you have these awarenesses about yourself and it comes to the surface, it's such a great opportunity to look at it, you guys. And if you're watching this show, that could be a sign that, hey, maybe we're speaking to you right now. Maybe this is at the surface right now. So you can look at it and be like, hi, past version of myself that believed that it wasn't safe to be seen. I'm ready to see you now. Because, when we play small, all we're doing is protecting ourselves from all of those things that we fear, like the judgment or whatever it is. But it also will protect you from connection to yourself and connection to other people who want to know your authentic version.
Yeah, there's always someone there waiting for you to look up. Look them in the
Mm.
eye. This was a thing that someone told me way back when I was a young woman, my 20s, early 20s. He said, start looking people in the eye. That's one way. While you were talking, I was thinking about how, okay, so it may be difficult to slip right into okay, I'm going to bring my authentic self out. So sometimes it's an outward, inward thing. So um, notice whether you look down when you're walking. So when you're walking anywhere, do you look down or do you look up at your surroundings? And if you continually look down, that's one sign that you're just holding yourself back. So look up and look around you. Walk and look at your surroundings. Take pauses and look at the world around you. See your surroundings. Practice seeing, because that may be a step into allowing yourself to be seen more. And there's something about looking up instead of down, that you hold your brain at a different position, and the way that the fluids within the brain work differently when they're like concentrated up here, or if they're being washed down the back of through your brain this way, that can um, bring a different awareness. So sometimes it's a practice. Have you practiced seeing the world? Do you practice seeing other people? um, a lot of times people do people watching, and there's this opportunity of seeing another. Have you practiced active listening? I really am so grateful for the things that I put myself into to open myself up, the different workshops that I went to, the different courses that I took that educated me. There's a lot of times we need a little more education. We need to take the opportunity um, to expand our knowledge base, to expose ourselves. And in workshops, that often happens where you get the opportunity to lean into something and move beyond, like I was mentioning, moving beyond the the anxiety or the shyness aspect, and finding out that you didn't die from that. You actually opened up and it wasn't horrible, that
Mm.
something happened, that you didn't have to shrink, and people accepted you and accepted what you listened to. So there's part of those things that may be a necessary step as well, to attend something that will stretch you. We have to get outside of our comfort zone to
Mhm.
be able to be more authentic. We really have to step out of some comfort zone to
Mhm.
do that.
Yeah. Um, I think baby steps are important. I really like taking baby steps.
Yes.
When it comes to healing for sure, because you can't do too much all at once, right? And I think just doing like little tiny things will really help. Like for this, healing your visibility wound, because it's not about being loud or seeking attention, right?
Right.
It's about feeling safe, that you can be authentic, and it's about expressing your truth without being shamed. And I feel just even just allowing your presence to exist fully. And Gingish, you'll love this because you know I love a good kitchen dance party, and you're always bringing the beats. But one way that I have really learned to like love myself for who I am is to be silly and goofy. And that's why I do my kitchen dance parties. I literally just dance every day and without judgment of what I look like or how I feel or how silly I am or anything like that. It's a connection to myself. I'm healing my inner child by just being, playful and really working on that. And it's really important for you to reconnect with your natural expression.
Hmm.
And it also, where I'm really big into this nervous system stuff, you guys, if it gives you safety in your body, y- right? Your nervous
Hmm.
system feels safe. And there's other ways to do that besides dancing. you can do any kind of grounding practices or like meditation or breath work or somatic awareness or you know something like that. But I think the really important thing is just um to just if you feel a prompting to do something that you think will empower you to be your most authentic self, don't push it off to next week or I'll get to it. Like stop what you're doing and do it now. That is your that is your guidance telling you, now is the time. Let's be childlike or let's take off our mask or let's go have an authentic conversation and let someone see us. Whatever that looks like. And we've talked about inner child healing. And I feel like this is one of those things in the inner child healing, platform that we get to look at because what would your life look like if you were fully seen, you guys, and you weren't afraid? Could you imagine like going to the grocery store wearing whatever you wanted and who
Oh,
cares? Who
oh my goodness.
cares what people think? Like who cares? Go to Walmart. Just go to Walmart for your first bit. There's no judgment there. You can wear whatever you want.
That was it was interesting. That was brought up another memory of this. I had this therapy can be so healing. I had this therapist that gave me a challenge to go to the mall because that was part of breaking out of my shyness that I had of just holding myself in. Yeah, I had this duck that was on a pole that like flipped. It rolled and it had these little flipper feet and it didn't quack or anything. It was just this wooden toy. And I took this duck to the mall and oh my goodness, on the inside, I was like, oh my gosh, everybody's going to laugh at me. And, but he challenged me to do some exercises like that,
Wow.
to just lean in. And another thing was to wear an outfit that was outside of my comfort zone, like to wear something that would draw attention.
Mm-hmm.
And I recently was reading some things on my numerology, and it was fascinating because there was this line in there that was for my numerology that said wear bright contrasting colors. And I mean, it's normal for me now, but to read something that said that was for me to really get into my natural, authentic self was to wear these colors. And I do it all the time now, where I have some wild looking pants.
Yes, you
I
do. I'm just like uncomfortable with you even talking about this. I'm like, oh, no, not for me. That is not for me.
No, because it wasn't actually your number. It was my 22-4. It had to do with my two of like getting into balance. For me to get into balance, I was really blown away when I read that statement. But this therapist that did these challenging exercises really allowed me to stretch, but I needed to put myself into those sessions. And that's often what needs to happen to move through some of our difficult things, is to have someone who holds that space for you, that you get to feel safe and secure while you express something that might be difficult to express. And you get to practice that. And you find out that, oh, it can be received well. Someone can hear me and not like, oh my gosh, like go crazy about it. Those things happen in therapy. There is so much healing that happens with a really good therapist or a coach or someone that does that type of work,
Mm-hmm.
that's good at it. And when you let yourself get in that, my clients have shared a lot of difficult things with me, and I watch the healing happen after they're done sharing. You get the same experience where people will tell this deep thing that's inside of them and share it in the confident space that's in, and feel lighter.
Yes.
It lightens the load to finally be able to express the thing that you never thought you would share with anyone, to express it and release that little pocket of packed up stuff inside of you.
Yes. Oh gosh,
Powerful
that's so
work for being able to be seen.
that is so good. Um, we still have 10 minutes left. We'll close out here soon. But if you're just listening and not watching, I just want you guys to know the poll for next week's show is up on the screen. We have 2 topics for you to choose from. We love when you guys vote on topics. However, if you have your own topic you want us to talk about, you can email us at connect@soulwanderings.com. The 2 topics that we have chosen for next week is either one, why your body holds ancient stories, or 2, spiritual lessons hidden in conflict. It's not a typo. There was not enough room to put that in there. I had to get creative. So either one, just type in a 1 or type in a 2. That puts your vote up on the screen. If you guys are listening to the replay, you can go ahead and put it in the comments. But we love to hear feedback so we can be on topic of your choice. Thank you. Carry on, Natalie.
these types of coming out of your shell opportunities, I reflect on how it worked for me, and as I reflect on it, I realize how much therapeutic things I've done through my life, the different opportunities that were presented to me, and taking that opportunity and doing the therapy really has been powerful. And sitting in this car, I take it for granted because I don't think about it very much. Once it's been integrated, it doesn't need to surface. And that's one thing I find when the healing's done, you don't, a lot of us will hold on to a story and hold on to a story. When I listen to people for a living, so I have this knack of listening. And recently I've just been hearing people's story. Like, I can recognize that it's a story, but it's not necessarily serving them. I feel like when I hear it, I can hear the limitation in it. That's a limiting story. It's a belief that holds you back. And how often we're not conscious of what we're saying in the story that we tell repeatedly. That is one of those stories we tell that is what's keeping you from being seen for more than that. And so when we start, one of the things I learned was to listen. I really had to learn to listen to myself. And that was a skill I didn't necessarily have when I was younger. I was like, oh, I'm not actually listening to what had quite a powerful teacher of mine run me through the ringer to be able to hear that. Do you hear what you're saying? I don't think so. So I learned to listen to what I'm saying. And I think sometimes that's not turned on inside of us, where we hear what we're saying and then start to understand how it holds us back. Because anxiety and fear gets wrapped up in stories and that we tell over and over again. And then it's absolutely a belief, and then it builds a structure around us that we hide behind. When we crack through this, then we can come out of hiding and grow beyond that limiting belief and limiting story.
Yes. I love the growth stuff. But I selfishly just get really high off of it, watching the people who come in to see us or reply to us from the show who are saying, you know what, I learned something, or I healed this, or I'm growing here. You guys, it's so good. It is so good. So, I probably sound like an infomercial tonight, and like, buy this program, buy this. This will be the best thing ever. You have now. Now is the time.
That's right.
Don't waste any more time. It's now.
Do it now.
That's how I feel. But also, like, we've seen the flip side, not just from our own experiences, but from others as well, on how amazing it can be when you just recognize yourself. Even if all you can do is say, yeah, I like the way the nail polish looks on my skin, or my hair actually looks really nice today, or this book I'm reading has really made me wake up and aware to this and that. Like, just acknowledge yourself. Just acknowledge your greatness. Just acknowledge your gifts and your talents and your abilities and your big, beautiful brains or whatever it is. Baby steps.
Oh, yes. And let's bring up mirror work because
Oh,
that would be quite a topic. Well, that's actually very good work. And I know that you really, truly, in your own experience, have expanded through the mirror work. And this is definitely about something about being seen. If you can look at yourself and you can start to adjust whatever it is that you're doing when you look at yourself.
yeah.
There, that's powerful to be able to look at yourself in the mirror and to see yourself because it's the only way we can literally see ourselves
Yeah.
is mirror.
And I think mirror work is so powerful. It was one of the biggest thing and still is one of the biggest things for me. But also on the other side of this, like we always say, on the other side of fear is freedom. There's
Mhm.
joy and happiness and all of this good stuff. But healing the fear of being seen is not about demanding attention, like we said. It's about no longer abandoning yourself, especially to make other people comfortable. And I know a lot of us are afraid to be seen because of other people, of what they'll think or what they'll say. But
Yeah.
this is your life. It's your life. And mirror work, I say a lot of affirmations. Um, you guys could try affirmations. They may work for you, but you could say something like, I release the need to hide who I am. It could be as simple as that.
Yes.
Or I allow myself to fully exist honestly and unapologetically. Like powerful statements. And again, I love tapping on my heart. I just love coming back to myself. And I talk to myself often. Affirmations are so good.
They are. It reminded me I had a affirmation that was on my mirror in my bathroom for years that was affirming, and it was about being open to the riches of the universe and also
Mm,
being in service of the universe. I can't remember how it went, but it that stuff, it weaves into the fabric of you. What if you're willing to replace the negative statements with positive ones over time, they take hold.
yeah.
And it is baby steps and it is over time because it's not about revolution, it's about an evolution and coming into your own and
Mhm.
being in the life that you are living. So
Yes.
good because I can't imagine going back to what I was when I was much younger lady and
Mm,
missing this, like being able to do this because I allowed my just me like, yeah, I could do this. I could do this. Of course.
of course you can. And you are. And you did. You are. It's so good. Yeah, I didn't do this to be seen for sure. I do it because it's a calling. It's part of a bigger picture of my calling.
Yeah.
Am I a guru or am I an expert? No, I'm just a human being who has lived through a lot of lives in this lifetime, and I have a lot of experience and knowledge to share because of it. And I had to get out of my own way to be here. I had to. And I'm really grateful that I did because I think about all of the people I've been able to assist, and I wouldn't have been able to do that if I would have stayed behind closed doors after my NDE, if I would have just kept it to myself
Right.
and not listened to the message I received in that experience. So, I have to get out of my comfort zone. And if you guys want all that good stuff, you have to get out of your comfort zone. It's
Yep.
just part of the plan. It's just part of the experience. It's how we learn and grow. So, I encourage all of you this week. I like to give you a little challenge. Just be a little kinder to yourself. And anytime you feel fear coming in, ask yourself where it's coming from and if it's serving you. And if it's not serving you, do your best to let it go or find ways to work through it. And we gave a lot of suggestions on how to make that happen. But we believe in you
We do.
and we know you can do it.
You're waiting for that authentic self to come out. It feels so much more solid when you're your authentic self.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, what a great topic. Thanks for voting for it. If you have not voted for next week's topic, make sure you guys hurry and enter in a number 1 or a number 2. And if you are listening to the replay, then just type it in the comments or send us a message on one of our social platforms. You know where to find us. And we'll see you guys all next week. Thanks for being here.
Have a good one.
Good night, everyone.